Wagler.
And I'm Jay Lab.
I'm Brian Dickel.
I'm Eric Brubaker.
And we are
The Steel Wheels. That guy,
Brian.
I did come up with the name. It was over 10 years ago, or at 10 years ago now. It's kind of crazy.
and let's be real with it though. Let's
We're going to be very real with it.
yeah.
Trent and Eric and I had a show. We weren't really necessarily a band, but we needed a name because it was hard to go by Trent Wagler, Brian Dickel, and Eric Brubaker. Didn't have that ring we were
Not
looking
quite
for.
a ring, yeah.
Sounds like a law firm.
So we were kind of brainstorming over the phone, looking for something that sounded kind of old timey, something that actually about anything is what we were after.
We had a lot of bad ideas,
Yeah.
and the Steel Wheels was one that wasn't bad.
Yeah, it came
the
up.
least bad. And I mean, we had some other rationale behind it. It did kind of have that old timey feel. It also had a little wink, a little nod to we all four of us have some heritage in the Mennonite community, and so those old steel wheels on the buggies. It was just a little nod to that heritage without being overly straightforward with that. And
But
yeah,
Trent's Amish though.
but I am Amish, and that's part of it. So
Yeah. And that's the main reason why we're
But no, I honestly, I do think we would have never. Well, no, I think it's a great name. It's a fine name. But I think at the time, you don't think about it being this name that's going to be your legacy for 10 years.
It wasn't even a career path at that point.
Yeah, it was more like, oh, we've got a gig. This
Yeah.
is an immediate decision we need to make. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we're pretty happy with it. I think it'll stick. Well, we've been off a lot of the winter so far, and just kind of got back on the road for a little run here in North Carolina, and ending here in DC. It's been a great run of shows,
Yeah.
and we love being at the Hamilton. Being in Virginia, it's always nice to have that proximity to DC, and there's been some of these really cool venues cropping up, like the Hamilton, Gypsy Sally's, and we've always enjoyed coming up here, and we've had a good audience. So it's nice to end it off on a Sunday night here at the Hamilton.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, we played a lot this past summer, and yeah, there were some really, really fun times. I don't know, guys. What were some of your favorites?
I really enjoyed the Ann Arbor Folk Festival. That wasn't this last year. That was
Oh yeah.
2 years ago. That was a fun one though. That was like an interesting festival in Michigan in January, which is interesting in itself.
Yeah.
But it's indoors. But it's in this amazing auditorium. It's like a 3,500 seat auditorium where the last seat is like 100 feet away. So it just stacks straight up over you, and the energy is, that was a really fun night.
The Hill Auditorium in Ann Arbor is just, it's incredible.
Yeah.
You can, you could just do it a cappella if you wanted to. You could, go with no amplification, it'd be fine. But yeah, beautiful room.
We had some great festivals out west, Ogden and Pagosa Springs.
Pagosa Springs.
Yeah.
Some really nice, just beautiful areas and great laid back
Yeah.
summer festival feel. So
Yeah.
those are always fun.
We were back at Merle Fest last year too, down in North Carolina.
Yeah.
That is an amazing festival.
Yeah.
A real legacy there with
Yeah.
Doc and Merle Watson.
And kind of one of our, I guess it's kind of becoming a staple now in our festival run is the Walnut Valley,
Oh, yeah.
also known as Winfield, in Kansas. And we've been there for the past 3 years, and yeah, that is just another incredible festival that's been
Like
going
no
for a
other.
very long time. We found with a lot of these festivals that have been going for a long time just really have, a certain characteristic about it,
Yeah.
and so it's really neat as a band to be able to come in and kind of see how it all works. And,
Yeah, Winfield has almost this like county fair feel to it, that it's whole families and this tradition of like, and Rollfest has that too, of people who've been there for years and years and years keep coming back. There's such a loyalty. We also went for the first time to Wheatland Music Festival in Michigan, which has the same kind of history and
Yeah.
heritage, and those are really neat places where you go to a festival and you feel like there's a specific, like you said, like a specific culture to a festival that sort of is undeniably that, and that's the way
You
we
can tell
live.
it's developed over time.
Yeah.
There's no other way for it.
That everybody yells something together, and you're like, oh, I didn't get the script, or whatever. But everybody there kind of knows that's the thing you do. Yeah.
But I think that we can all agree that the most intense and the most epic festival is our own festival, the Red Wing Roots Music Festival.
Yeah.
Yep. In Mount Solon, Virginia.
Takes place in Virginia. That's
It
true.
does. It's right
July.
There. Right there in July.
In July, is it? What are those dates again?
What are those dates? This year it will be.
Yeah, July 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
Are tickets? Did tickets go on sale already?
I think
I think there's tickets for people could even get tickets.
They can. Yeah. They're going quick though. So.
Yeah, well, we've done this, so this will be our third year hosting the Red Wing Roots Music Festival, and we've had 2 great years. The first year, of course, is kind of this, you put it out there and you hope and you believe that there are people who are going to come, but it's scary. It's scary to start something like that and put your neck out there a little bit with the names that you book and you bring in, and you've got a lot of money on the line, a lot of energy on the line, a lot of people trying to get invested. And it was amazing to see how our local community of Harrisonburg and Stanton, Virginia came together in Mount Solon, kind of out in this beautiful setting at the Natural Chimneys Park there, and just created this beautiful first year. And then last year we've sort of came back, and again, even though you have success in that first year, you think it could be a fluke, like it's that first year, I don't know, are they really going to come back? Do they like me? That kind of stuff. And it was even better. We had pretty much capacity in our second year, and we couldn't have asked for anything better than that. And so yeah, we are just now in the midst of announcing the lineup. We had an initial lineup announce of 6. I just did this 6 people.
Natural.
Yeah, you just round it to the nearest 4 when you're doing the hand signals. But we announced some of the lineup, and more is going to be coming out as we go. But we have who else did we announce?
Wood Brothers.
The Wood Brothers.
Nikki Lane.
Yeah. Brothers Comatose from the West Coast.
Shook
Twins.
Strings and
Yeah.
Don Julin.
Yeah, and the Shook Twins.
Yeah.
Out west. Yeah. So yeah, it's exciting. It's to do a 3-day festival. There's a lot of logistics. We've had so many good partners and friends, but it's a family-friendly festival. It's a camping festival. There's a lot of good outdoors stuff that you can do between bike rides, and people want to go to the lake nearby. It's a really, really great time, and we're just happy to be a part of it. Yeah. Well, Spoke Songs is a bicycle tour that we have done. I guess a total we've done 4 bike tours.
Yeah.
A couple of those tours Jay and I did as a duo tour. We were kind of testing the waters, seeing if this was really a good idea or not, which is still kind of up in the air as to whether or not it is. But it started as a joke, really. We were talking about ways you could green your touring, make your touring more environmentally friendly. We spent a lot of time in a van, burning gas, going out on the road. And so we were talking about that, and different ideas come up of more fuel efficient vehicles, or, I don't know, touring in a certain strategic way. But we sort of joked and said, well, if you just biked to every gig, you wouldn't use any fossil fuels. Wouldn't that be great,
Yeah.
And then the joke turned into a little bit of, online research, and you realize that certainly we weren't the first people to have this idea or anything, but then the first year Jay and I said, let's do it. Let's just give it a shot. Let's see what happens. And we did it in Virginia. We did about, was that an 8-day, 7-show tour, I think? It's been a few years now, so I can't remember. But we just took off on our bikes. We had everything we needed on our bikes, and it was self-supported, touring down, starting in our hometown of Harrisonburg, going south through Stanton, and then all the way down eventually to Roanoke, across to Lynchburg, and back up through the Wintergreen kind of area, and had a fun adventure, you know. And so then that first tour led to a couple tours we did in Michigan, a tour we did last year in North Carolina, and it's a fun way to sort of reset, I would say. You know, you get a very different experience. You're still, for us, it's kind of like a bike to work week. It just happens to be that our work is playing shows, and it's a neat perspective shift. We've had better and worse experiences depending on the terrain and depending on the weather, and
It's really hard to pull a lot of weight over mountains.
yes, North Carolina was hard.
Yeah.
It was very
It
hard.
was.
I think it really challenged our thoughts on the bike tour and what it really means. But that's all good. It's a really I mean, to be able to tour like that and to even try it is just, I mean, a big adventure in itself. I mean, the first time we did it, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll hop on a bike and do this. That'd be great, you know.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly a big training before.
Yeah.
Preparation.
Over that first day, just psychologically getting myself prepped and you know, it was a lot of fun. And
Yeah, I think the best part of it is it kind of breaks down the barrier of people.
yeah,
They don't have any idea who we are or what we do or why we're out there, but they'll talk to you. Like we're stopped at a gas station just looking wrecked and drink Gatorade or whatever, but somebody will come over and inevitably talk to you because you have a big pile of bikes and a bunch of instruments. And they're like, what are you guys doing? You know?
yeah. It's a fair
Where are you
question.
from? What are you? Yeah. And it's kind of nice because you realize that there's a lot of kindness out there, and you hear a lot of negativity, but people, by and large, are just good, you know. And you see the best of people, I think, when you're
You
on the
do.
bike.
Oh, you really do.
They offer you a hand, they offer you a place to stay, they give you food or just a conversation, directions. You know, we were lost many times, and people would come and give you directions. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, that's perfect. You know.
Yeah.
One guy even followed us around.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he showed up again. He's like, I just want to see if you'd make it through that part that I told you. And we were lost again. He's like, because I knew you wouldn't be able to find this next spot. And then he'd show us where to go the next
Yeah.
way. And it was really fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool.
No, those adventures really, when you're normally touring as a band, you try to control so many of the factors, and for the better usually of the show and of the tour, that you make sure you have enough time to get to the venue and the gig, and you put it all in, and that's an important thing to do. You don't want a lot of surprises, but because of that, sometimes you can really be sort of isolated. You're showing up to a gig, you do your sound check, you go to your green room, all you do is go back out on the stage and play your show, and you really in the end don't have a lot of interaction with people otherwise. And the bike tour breaks that down so that you're constantly meeting people in a very different way. And I think it helps to also remind you that is what, in the end, that's what you really are doing it for, is to, yes, we play music, but at least for me, it's about trying to relay that music to people and engage people and connect with people in that way. And so it's a good reminder of that too. Like day to day, I guess we averaged probably, I don't know, it was different tour to tour, but like 50 miles, I guess, if you averaged it. Is that about right?
Yeah. Our longest we did was 600 miles in 11 days and
Mhm.
10 shows.
Yeah.
So some days were shorter, some days were longer.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, we had in the Michigan tour, we actually did a century one day,
Yeah.
where we did a full 100 miles. We did not play that day.
Yeah, we had 108 miles to cover.
It was like we knew that would be a bad idea, you know, to try to
Yeah.
do that much distance, and so we sort of planned it that way. But
Yeah.
most of the days were somewhere between 30 miles to 60 miles was typically where it was. So.
Yeah.
Which is still no small feat with a bunch of weight. And Brian plays an upright bass. So he pulls an upright bass. There's no, yeah.
We don't cheat.
He doesn't cheat. And suddenly say, you know what? I like the sound of an electric bass.
Yeah.
He still plays the upright.
Yeah, we got some trailers and crazy long bikes and all
Yeah.
kinds of things. Yeah.
Let's see, what came first?
Beer
Well,
was first.
The beer was first.
Yeah. Our really good friends at Blue Mountain Brewery in Virginia, in Afton, they've been friends for a very long time. They started their brewery, I guess, around the same time we were really starting to, more or less, when we were starting to play out more, and we played at their place, and they gave us a place to play. They just became really solid friends, and then their brewery started to really grow, and our band started to grow, and at one point they came to us and said, can we make a beer for you guys? And of course we said no, that's not a good idea. No. Yeah, they brought up the Steel Wheels ESB, and so that's how that whole beer was born. And yeah, it's just been a long relationship from there too. They're also, in this coming year, they've expanded. They started a brewery in Charlottesville called South Street Brewery, and they are still a big supporter of our band. They are sponsoring some of our touring for this next year because we have a new album coming out. And but yeah, they're just great folks. We love them to death. And then our coffee came around as well. There's a local roaster in Virginia, Lucas Roasting. Sort of the, similar, and they were pals, and but on the other end, on the coffee end of things, and
Yeah, with a lot of our merchandise, we like to try to partner up with artisans, local people that we know or friends, and so we've sold some pottery from a friend of ours who's a great ceramic artist, and we've sold the coffee, and we have our T-shirts printed locally, and that sort of thing. That just kind of, we try to tie in some of the local people and feature their artwork as part of our merchandise as well.
Yeah, we have a local to a place I used to live in, Indiana, a potter who makes all of our mugs. So each one is individually made, and so we travel around with those as well. But yeah, like Eric said, it's nice to have the local goods.
I think that kind of ties in a way. It feels like the music we like to play is, has kind of a pretty straightforward style. Like, we like to keep it fairly, what you see is what you get. We're four guys trying to play the best music we can for you. It's not a huge spectacle. It's not about fireworks and some sort of crazy laser light show. It's pretty straightforward, and I think that has good ties to the local food movement and the sense of wanting to get to the source as quickly as possible and try to strip away as many of the, the packaging of foods and the marketing of food, but instead, like, how can I get the good food as locally as possible, or that good beer that's made right here, or the coffee that's roasted locally. And so those ties and those connections have come fairly, fairly easily in a way, and it feels like those movements kind of tie together pretty well. That's a tough one.
Create a rift in the band.
Yeah, we're gonna find out.
We can't choose favorites. It's like kids.
That's right.
That's
Love them all equally.
That's a really tough question. I mean, I can say, I think for me, kind of, not specifically on one song, but we are in the midst of releasing a new record, and with that is brand new material that we're really happy about releasing. And I think for me is starting to play the new songs and really play them out, because it's exciting. It's new stuff. We're really some of them we're still fleshing out on stage, and we're still getting them locked in, but that's a fun process.
Yeah, there's an energy behind that of a little bit of unknown still. Like, it could derail on stage, or it could go really well. You know, you hope for the latter, of course. But yeah, there's an exciting energy whenever you have a whole group of new songs like that. But there's still some old favorites that, you know, I'm still not tired of playing, even after playing them almost every night for 5 years
absolutely.
or whatever, you know. So.
One of the best things about this band is, you know, we really enjoy playing together. And yeah, like Brian said, even the tunes we've been playing for years, it's just a joy to be able to get up on stage and do together.
Biggest influences? Wow.
We get to hire all of our favorite bands to come play the festival.
I know, that is one of the perks.
It is nice.
Kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like opening up.
There's a lot out there.
Yeah, there are a lot.
And for different reasons too. You know, and yeah, there's a lot of different inspirations that I think that we all draw from, you know, but also individually we have individual, I don't know, there are probably
heroes and
things like that.
So yeah, I don't know. I think I mean some of the legacy heroes would be people like John Prine and well, there's a lot of people who don't live anymore, and it'd be really great to play with.
We're not saying John Prine's dead.
No, John Prine. No, I didn't mean that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Townes Van Zandt, but Guy Clark would be another amazing songwriter. I think it would be neat.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to, you know, play with Del McCurry band. You know, that'd be a great one. You know, just like in the whole kind of, you know, straight up bluegrass kind of world. But
and then there are bands like Old Crow Medicine Show and the Avett Brothers and some of those bands that are certainly, you know, in a way they're influences, and it would be pretty amazing to share shows with some of those bands as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have a new album coming out in April, and we are.
Recording's done. It's in the bag.
Yeah, everything is ready. We're very excited to get it out there to people. We've been working on this album, I think, more intently than we ever have before. Like there's just been more intention, more time, and I'm really excited to get it out to people. So yeah, I mean, I think the next few months will be very exciting to be doing that piece, but we're also always looking to be writing. We're always adding, you know, trying to add new songs to our repertoire and keep creating. I think, like Jay said, when you asked the question about, you know, your favorite song to play or sing, I think for us the creating side is always one of the most vibrant sides of what we do, of getting to create new music. And in some ways that, you know, the rehearsing you do together is as much a part of the excitement as by the time you get out there and perform it for people, because that's when a lot of that creative process happens. Yeah, the new album is called Leave Some Things Behind.
It's coming out in April.
Live dancers, I think.
That laser show we were talking about and live dancers. I mean, it's obvious. We always talk, you know, that's a question we often ask ourselves, that we're kind of always feel like you're not really in control of, but yet you are a tiny bit. You try to steer it, you know. We're happy with where we're pointing, but we're always looking to grow in a smart way. We're not looking to get to like an arena show. I think we'd lose what it is we do, but you know, like larger theaters, you know, big festivals. We've played a lot of big festivals, different experiences. I think part of it's just the experience of, you know, going to, you know, we're down in Austin this last winter and we played a big outdoor show. You know, some just unique spaces like that. It's always fun to see. Yeah, how that shapes your show and your audience and all that.
We are talking about how we continue to grow and evolve our show itself, and whether that's, you know, adding slight little set or lighting touches, or just how we can continue to create a set list that goes, each night and each show almost tells a story, and how do you make sure you're shaping the show in a way that delivers something unique and special each night. But I think in some ways, as you keep growing as a band, it's as much about where you want to go in terms of your growth and getting bigger, but it's also about trying to preserve what you've already enjoyed and what you've already found that works for you. And I think that's a simultaneous kind of challenge, is like, we want to keep growing and keep playing bigger places and bigger festivals and getting music out to more and more people, but we also want to make sure that none of that jeopardizes the connection that we feel on stage, the connection the audience feels to what we play. And I think that's always something you have to keep yourself in check on. It's not always easiest to know, is the audience experiencing what you want them to experience? Are you feeling it in the same way where you're at? But we're friends, and we have been from the beginning as we've started this band, and I think that's the core of what we do, is keeping this together and keeping the creative process strong and healthy. That's sort of the foundation that we build on, and I think we have to grow from.
Yeah. Well said. Sir Wadley. Don't be a dick.
That's pretty good.
That sums it up.
Just play anywhere, play a lot. I do think that's good advice, actually.
Well, and in kind of in keeping with what you were just saying, we've kept it sustainable and enjoyable at every stage. So we weren't always playing 110 shows a year, but it was always something that we all found fulfilling, and and it grew organically from there, and that's helped us a lot.
It's important to keep it light. I think for us, at least, we didn't start with huge goals and huge pressure, and so we had some really tough, rough shows early on, and you could find the fun in that. You could joke about it later, keeping it light, moving on, and if you have a bad night or a slow night, just letting that go and knowing there's going to be ups and downs. I mean, we talk to people who we admire and we see as being 2 or 3 steps ahead of us and above us in their career, and yet they'll talk to you about nights where
like 20 people
showed up.
Like really?
It just something happens and nobody's there, and it's a terrible night, and you've got to be able to let that go and move on and be able to know that there's going to be another night where you're going to be able to perform. But I think that there is a lot about just getting out there and playing a lot, and that's an important piece to any band. Is if you want to be tight and you want to be putting out quality music, it's just a matter of that repetition. Cool. Well, we have a new album coming out in April of 2015. It's called Leave Some Things Behind. It's a 14-song album of all original music. It'll be on vinyl and CD and digital. All the information about the band, including our tour dates, are at thesteelwheels.com. You can also be in touch with us at facebook.com/thesteelwheels, and Twitter,
Instagram, all
The
that
Steel
fun
Wheels.
stuff.
Pretty much The Steel Wheels will get you just about anywhere you need to be with that music. So.